Hello all. Today we are going to discuss about how to register for DP203 certification, how to prepare and how to give the exam. So let's go ahead and know the details. So Azure Data Engineer certification, which is called DP203. Previously we have to give two exams. One is DP200 and DP201 exam together to complete Azure Data Engineer certification. So 2 years back, I think Microsoft merged these two certifications together and created DP203 course. Once we complete this course, we can get Microsoft Azure Data Engineer Associate 203 certification. So in this video, we will see how to enroll and how to prepare and how to give the exam and how to clear the exam. Right, let's get into the video. So, so go to the browser and type Azure DP203 certification. So once you click on the first link, that is exam 203 data engineering on Microsoft Azure, we go to this particular page which has the complete details about the certification. So which is 203 Azure Data Engineer certification. First thing they are saying, like, they have given the DP203 certification guide, and the passing score for this exam is 700 points out of 1000, which is 70% we had to score. And let's click on this DP203 study guide. So this is the certification details, and they have given the links, details for everything which is covered. So if you look into the if you look into this syllabus, they have design and implement data storage. So when we say data, they talk about structured data, semi-structured data, unstructured data, and the data processing. They are talking about Azure Data Factory, EDF, and Azure Synapse Analytics, and using the Spark clusters, and also how to secure, monitor, optimize data storage and data processing. Here they are in terms of data storage, they are talking about Cosmos DB as well, and they're also talking about Azure Synapse Link for Cosmos and Azure Synapse Link for SQL as well. So let's see at a high level how what are the topics for this. I won't go in detail. Basically, I'll give the link to this document to in the description of my video. So let's see one by one at a high level. So first thing is design and implement data storage. So first thing, how we store the data. For example, if we collect the data from different sources and how we store it. And there is partitioning. For example, there will be some questions on how will you store the files, basically the hierarchy structure. Um, and also we also talk about Azure Data Lake Storage, which is the basic, the cheapest storage in available in Azure services. And they also talk about Azure Synapse Analytics. And in traditional data warehouse, just we mostly work with the structured data, but in the modern data warehousing, we have to work with structured, semi-structured, unstructured data, and also we should be able to query the data from files directly, even if it is Parquet, ORC, and other formats. So that's how we work here. And in terms of data processing, we also see about the Azure Apache Spark clusters and Azure Stream Analytics and Azure Synapse as well as Data Factory. So basically, this is Data Factory is equivalent of on-premise SSIS, And we also work with Azure Stream Analytics, and on Stream Analytics we get most of the questions like what are the different windows available, for example, hopping window and different other windows, sliding window, etc. So based on that, we also get questions and some queries, simple SQL queries on the windows, the Stream Analytics, different windows which are available. Next thing, we also go to the batch processing, and we also get some of the questions on Azure Synapse link, and we also get some questions on the partitioning of the data. Like, for example, if for staging tables we use round robin, and for small dimension tables which are less than 200 GB after compression, we use replicated, and for larger fact tables we use hash partitioning. So those are the key things which we also get, most of the questions we get from those. How do we do the batch processing? We do using Azure Data Factory, Azure Synapse Analytics. How do we schedule? We have different schedules like normal scheduling. The other one is the tumbling window, which by using which we can also uh, trigger the jobs in the past, which are which are in the previous days, and how we schedule the data, factory job pipelines using the triggers, and basically Azure Synapse is a kind of unified interface for the integration using the data factory, and then you can also create Power BI reports using that, and you can also create your PySpark, uh, you know, scripts using this Azure Synapse, using the SQL pools or the Spark pools, and also how we monitor and optimize data storage, data processing. Here they will also ask you about the row level security, column level security, data masking in data, and also the in data masking also they'll ask about different questions like how do you use how do you mask emails and credit card numbers. There are different types of masking, so we just need to check how which masking is suitable. So we'll also get questions on that. We'll also get questions on row level security and column level security, and there are different types of encryption. So encryption at rest and in motion, and there are different types of encryption. We'll also get questions on this mostly, and role-based access control. We'll also get some questions on that, and the VNets, other things. Yeah, pretty much several things. Basically, there is something called data skews. So basically, the key thing is to understand what is the basic difference between Azure SQL database and Azure Synapse. Basically, if it is SQL database, it is SMP, which is symmetric multiprocessing. However, if it is Azure Synapse, it is MPP, massively parallel processing. And also the tables in Azure Synapse Analytics, it's by default partitioned using the partition key. So for example, whenever we create a table, it will by default ask for the partition key. So, and also Azure Synapse has by default, it will divide the data into 60 worker nodes. So basically, based on that, um, our data will be, there is a partition on the table itself, and on top of the partition data that will be distributed across 60 distributions. Basically, we should ensure that each worker node gets sufficient number of data. So try to use correct partition key so that each worker node gets approximately similar data, same volume of data. So we'll also get some questions on the selecting the key as well, partition key. So this is how at a high level, and I'll pin this document. So, but it's better to go through this document every time because there may be slight additions on this for this syllabus. And also here they'll also given a sandbox demo. For example, I have clicked on this particular sandbox just to see how the look and feel of the certification exam. So I clicked here. So basically to register, first you have to register that exam. So I'll show you how we can register. For example, if you're attending exam, just try to join 30 minutes or 45 minutes early to the exam, and this is how it looks like, the exam interface, and you'll also shown the timings here, and you accept the conditions. So basically you have to click the photos. If you are taking the exam from home, you have to click the the venue. For example, if you're taking an exam in a room, you have to send the pics for the link you get to your mobile, and you have to upload them. A Microsoft trainer, or the exam supervisor will approve the exam, and once you click on that, you get something like this where they give details at a high level, and once you click next, so this is the timings and other details you can find. There will be some case studies as well in the exam, and click next. So this is pretty much mimicking the actual exam. So this sandbox, so usually it will be, I think, 2 hours or 3 hours, the actual exam. Click next. So this is just to familiarize how the real exam looks like. In this case, we have, for example, I'm just choosing answers randomly just to show. So for example, this is the radio button question. So you can select radio button. So I selected this. The next one is like we have the checkbox based multi-select, where you can select this. Okay, so they'll ask for only two selections. Based on that, we have to select that. And the third one, let's quickly go through this because the video may get very lengthy. So basically, there is a drop down. For example, here we can drag and drop. For example, this one here, match here, drag and drop, and then do this and click next. So that's one way. The other thing is, the other ways is like we have certain number of actions here, and we have to keep them in order of the sequence. For example, first one I'm selecting, second one I'm selecting, and then the next step should be, for example, it is this, then do this, then do this, then do this, etc. and click next. So that's how it will be there. And next one is like you can see here, there is some interactive questions. For example, this is a question, and in the answer area you will see something like this. There is a drop down which through which we can select the answer. Click here and click next. And in some questions you'll also get the different drop down. For example, there may be multiple drop downs in the question, so you have to understand the question and select the appropriate answers. Click next, and then so the next one is this one. So basically it is kind of interactive. We can just select this. I think it's a single select. Just select this and select the correct answer. And for example, let me check this and click next. The next one is something like this. Requirements. You can choose the radio button. So there are different requirements, and you can choose the answer. based on all these requirements and choose the answer and click next. And in few questions, you'll have a question here and you have an exhibit here. Exhibit is a kind of additional information. For example, if they are talking about a primary key or a table, they will give those exhibits here. And you can go through the exhibit. This is just an exhibit. There is no interaction here, just a kind of a snippet or kind of additional information for the question. So once you do that, then you can click on this. So they'll say in the exhibit, to access an exhibit, click on exhibit and all. They'll give the information and go through the exhibit and find the correct answer and select the answer. Click next. Next one, sometimes you may have multiple exhibits, one, two, three, and based on that, you can go through the question and select the answer. So for example, there may be these kind of questions where you have to select yes and no for each of that question here and click next. So once you can also uh, check the review button for review. I think we haven't selected anything for review, so it's 0 and answer is 10. We have answered 10, and so once we complete the exam, just click on finish and it will ask for a confirmation. Click yes. And also there are some case study questions where we have to answer, and once we answer that, we cannot come back to the previous questions. So whenever it is a case study, all the case study questions, that 4 or 5 questions, should be done at a time, and once you're done, you cannot re-access that case study. So make sure you um, answer correctly for those case studies, since you don't have an option to come back to that video question. So I will exit this. I should yes. Basically, this is just a demo, so just ignore that. And parts of requirements for related exam. For example, for if I click this link, so it will say it. So if I pass this exam, I'll get this certification. That's it. And to schedule the exam, for example, if you're in the US, you can select US and it will show the amount for that particular certification. And if you're in the UK, you can select UK. If you're in India, you can select India and it will show the price based on the country you live in. You select basically. For example, let me select the United States here. So once, and also there are two things. One is two ways to prepare. One is self-paced, where you'll be shown these kind of information, and there's a lot of material on the learn.microsoft.com. So you can access this and complete all those modules, and once you do that, we can get most of the information and we can pass the exam. And the other one is instructor led, which is kind of paid version, paid training from Microsoft. We have to pay that amount, and a trainer from Microsoft will guide us. So this is how, for example, each one will have different modules and we have to complete those things. For example, if I click here, so this is how it will be there, each module. And if you go inside it, there will be different modules, something like this. Introduction, this, and you'll have also some questions at the end of each module so that we can prepare. And coming to this schedule exam, just click on the schedule exam. That's it. First, certification profile, you have to set up this. Uh, Discounts and schedule exam. Either you can take it at home or in the exam centers, and you have to link your personal email ID as well, the outlook.com, so that once you leave your company also, you can still access that course and it will be shown on your personal email ID. And once you pass this exam, you'll also get a badge from Microsoft. So once you complete the exam successfully, you'll also get a Microsoft certified badge as Azure Data Engineer. So that's it, guys. If you have any specific questions, you can ask me in the comments section. And if you have learned something new today, do like my video, share, and comment, subscribe. So thanks for tuning to my video. Have a nice day. You take care. Thank you.